So if you've seen on the latest post on the Instagram page, just added this big CO2 laser to the work area. As you can see, it's a mess of the mess of the old one. So what I thought I'd do is, I thought we'd just to do a little test here, was I'd make a rubber stamp. Smelly Cat Creations logo rubber stamp. I had tried it in the past. This was just a test one. This is done in TPU filament on the 3D printer. So I printed that, but although it's nice and flexible, it just doesn't, it's still too rigid for the ink stamp. All the little lines, they show up. So what I've got is I've got a couple of these 3D printed handles here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some of this, which is laserable rubber. You need to make sure, if you do something like this, that you make sure that it is actually properly suitable for the laser. Even this stuff, which is made for lasers, stinks. It does really stink. It gives off quite a nasty smell. So you need to make sure you've got good extraction on. My extraction is not the best at the minute. It is, yeah, there it is. So it's not the greatest. I need to sort that out because that and the fibre both need better extraction on them. So yeah, so this is what we're going to do. So I've got the vernier. I think what I'll do is I've got a small one and a large one. So I'm going to measure. It's got a little bit of flex where they come off the bed. I might just do the small one just to put on the back of envelopes. It's hard doing this one-handed. It's 35.5, well, the vernier. So let me just measure that, and then we'll go over to the computer and we'll use the settings for the size of this. Right, so what we've got here is we've got my Smelly Cat Creations logo. I have taken off the social media and the website address at the bottom just to keep it simple. So what you need to do is, with any stamp, whether it be a branding iron stamp, you need to make sure that you mirror image, flip it horizontally, flip the image horizontally, so that when you stamp it, it comes out in the correct orientation. So I measured the stamp handle, which was 22 by 45. We've got 22 by 47 there, but there's a little bit I can trim off the ends just to make it fit inside the stamp handle. So the one thing you need to do to make sure it's a stamp, and by the way, this is LaserCut 5.3 software. It isn't the greatest of softwares, LaserCut, but it does its job. Generally, the best thing you can do is to do all of your editing of your graphics outside of LaserCut. So whether you want to use Inkscape, Illustrator, you're best off doing all of that outside of this program, and then you just bring it into here, pretty much just to tell it what the settings are for the laser and to send it over to the laser. So to make it a ink stamp or any kind of stamp, we have to draw a box around the outside of it. Now, by drawing the box around the outside, we're going to tell it to laser away anything between the box and the writing. So it'll leave the writing proud and the little cat face proud. Whereas if we didn't have the box there, we would literally cut the letters out and the face out, and that would be no good. So there's our size. So I've changed that. You can click OK on that, which we've changed size. Now what we need to do is tell LaserCut what it is we want to do with it. So what we want to do with that is we want to engrave it. So when we come up here on LaserCut, you've got all your different, like your layers in most softwares. You can choose what colour you want it, and then whatever colour you choose for it to be, that part of the graphic to be, you come up here and you associate the cutting settings or the engraving settings to go with that colour. So with everything being black on this, at the top here we'll have the black lines engrave, and then I think what we'll do, you can tell it says 400 speed, 75% power, and then I also want to go over that a couple of times to get a nice, so I'm actually going to go over it twice. Into that, and that will now do a program that we can send over to the laser. So I'll turn the laser on and we can send that over. We've now got the laser on. It's the chiller there, 12 degrees. We've got our rubber, it's all fired up. It will have already done its datum. So first start up, it will have datum to the back left top corner. I'll place my bit of rubber in there, and then what we'll do is we'll send the program over. The pump there's a pump down there which is feeding air to the nozzle of the laser. That was making a right racket, so I have placed some sponge under it. So what we do is, now the laser's on, we can connect to it by hitting our download button, and that's connected and showing us what's currently in the machine. So there's 2 programs currently in the machine. We're going to download current, which is the program we're working on here. That's now sending that over to the laser. There it is. Just finishing on that. It's taken a little while because there's a lot of lines. I've set the distance in the Y steps, so how many lines it does, I've set them very high. So right, what we need to do now is bring the head over and we need to make sure our height is correct. So you have your little height focus gauge. That is a little out, so let me just adjust that. So you can adjust the height of the there of the nozzle in 2 ways. You can undo this and you'll have, I believe this one's probably about 60 mil of movement up and down on the actual laser head. And then your other option is, it's got a motorized bed, so you can actually bring it up and down with the motor. So that's about correct. We've got the program in there. Now what you can do is you can push test on here, and test will show you where it's going to go. So it's actually over there. That is a setting in the software. So if we just bring this roughly to the top corner, like so. There it is, it's going to do it there. We're going to need to put some extraction on because there's the extraction, and now all we've got to do is push go. It's not the clearest, there we go, that's not bad. And then what we need to do is, after this is finished, once it's done its thing, lasering, you need to, with a little brush, toothbrush or any kind of little stiff brush, you need to wash this off in just some warm water. So it is going to take a while because I have got the Y steps, they're very high. So let's leave that running and then come back in a minute when it's done, or almost done. So I stopped it after one pass because that actually looks like that should be enough, and that took, I think it was about 7 minutes or just under. I am doing it in 0.01 steps in the Y. So as it looks, and it stinks, believe me, it stinks. As it looks in a minute, it looks destroyed. But once you clean that off with a brush and warm water, it will look better. So you can see, after a little clean up, it's pretty much all there. I do notice that I have slightly lost the little waves up there, look. Probably attacked it a little bit hard with how much power I put into it. Probably reduced the power a bit because I have taken it quite deep. But it does fit into the handle. Just get that. So it does fit into there. So I will glue that in place, and then can try it on an ink pad, see what it comes out like. May just need to be a case of playing about with the settings a little bit. Like I say, possibly that was a bit too much power, but got to start somewhere. I stuck the stamp inside the handle just with a bit of 2-part epoxy. I should hold it there nicely. Only thing that needs probably tweaking is, you can see it gets it on the handle. The handle doesn't let the stamp protrude enough, so but if it wasn't for that handle on the outside, pretty happy with that. It's not bad for a first attempt at a lasered rubber stamp. Not bad. Can stick that on the envelopes.